Hello and welcome to Loyal Subs Creations. And this week we want to talk about beads. You can remember last week we started off speaking about diamonds and we ended up with gemstones. So today I want to speak about gemstone beads. What is a bead? A bead is described as a decorative object that can be formed in a variety of shapes and sizes. It can also be formed from different types of materials. For example, you could have bone beads, shell beads, glass beads, plastic, metal beads, wood, stone, paper beads, fabric beads, and also gemstone beads, and much more. But a bead must also have at least one small hole through which you'll be able to pass your stringing material. So to classify as a bead, it must have a hole where you can pass your stringing material. There are different types of beads, but beads can be classified by material. That's the type of material it's made from, the origin of the bead, the shape of the bead, and perhaps the grade of the bead. For instance, you can have glass beads. Remember when we spoke about glass, we've got lead glass, that which is crystal, and we've got ordinary glass. So that is a type of grading. We also have shell beads, where you can have the beads that are just coated, the acrylic bead, which is coated in a shiny material and is sold as pearls. You could also have freshwater pearls, which are original pearls, and so on. Pearls is a different topic where you can discuss different types of pearls as well. You could also have metal beads. You could have shambhala beads. You could have seed beads, where we use seed beads in a bead weaving, like if you want to do kumihimo or things like that, we can use seed beads. We have gemstone beads and we have crystal beads. In front of you here, I've got all these sets are made from semi-precious beads and crystal beads. What do we use beads for? Now, beads can be used for different types of adornment. We can use them to make jewelry, like what you have in front of you. You've got bead jewelry in front of you. We can also use them in making different things like bags. You can make them, you can add them to your clothes or add them to shoes. They can also be used in artworks. They can be used in wall hangings, sculptures, table decor, house decorations, different crafts. And another thing we need to note is that gemstones also have spiritual and healing properties. You might find a lady or somebody wearing a row of beads and you think it's just for adornment purposes, but to the person it's because it has spiritual value. We'll still talk about the spiritual aspects of gemstone beads later on. Now, to get these beads, when you've got these beads and you have a particular design in mind, you need to know how to use the beads to create that design. And that brings us to the different types of bead techniques that we have. And what do we mean by a bead technique? It means the art of attaching beads to one another, because beads come singly. So if you don't have a way by which you attach them to one another, you won't be able to bring out the design you are trying to create. So there are different types of beadwork techniques, like weaving. When you say you're bead weaving, it comes in two forms. You can either bead weave with a loom, or you can bead weave without a loom, that is off loom. You can also string your beads together. What you have in front of you is mostly stringing the beads together. You can also embroider, where you embroider something and add beads to it. You can crochet your beads together using a crochet hook. You can also do bead tatting, which is a type of crochet but using what we call a shuttle. The vintage laces, the old laces perhaps that were used for table decor or things like that, where they have tiny beads within them, is called bead tatting. You can also knit your beads together. So using all these techniques means that you would have learned different types of stitches or different types of ways by which you can string them together, or you can knit them together, or you can embroider them together, and so on. Now that brings us to different bead sizes. As you can see, beads vary from size to size. They vary from, let's say, 2 millimeters to 18 plus millimeters. So you can see that the variation in size is very wide. You can have very tiny beads like your seed beads. You can also have very large beads like your big nuggets. So the design that you want to create, or whatever you want to create, will determine the size of the bead and the type of the bead that you want to use. And lastly, we want to talk about bead shapes. It's important to know, to be conversant with different bead shapes that are available, because this will help you to decide which one you will bring out the design you want to create. It will help you decide which one will bring out the design that you want to create. Therefore, it is always good, of course, to draw out your design first, the idea you have in mind. If you put it on paper, you'll be able to see what type of bead you will use, whether it's going to be oval, round, nugget shapes, oblong shapes, or whatever will bring out the design better. So in bead shapes, we've got different shapes: round, I'll mention a few: round, oval, barrel shaped, rondelle shaped. Crystals come in rondelle shapes as well. We've got drum beads, we've got Heishi beads, coin beads, lentil beads, we've got round tube beads, square tube, diamond, weather flat. You've got triangle beads, you've got puff beads, saucer, octagon shaped, hexagon shaped, we've got emerald cuts, we've got dog bone, and so many others. Now we'll take a look at what I have in front of you, and in front of me here, and I'll show you some different shapes of beads. Now, first of all, in front of you here, we've got coral shape. We've got coral beads and lapis lazuli. You can see that the coral shaped is in the coral beads rather are in the shape of a dumbbell. If you can see that, they're in the shape of a dumbbell. The lapis is disc shaped. So that is one shape. Here we've got agate beads. The big ones are irregular shapes, so we call these are nuggets. They're irregular shape. These are rounds. These are metal beads. They're shiny, but they're metal beads as well. The tiny ones are also metal beads, but they are round. These are fluoride beads, and you can see the shape is square, it's cube shaped, and it's also got a groove. I hope you can see that. It's got a groove in the middle of each side, and they're cube shaped. They're fluoride beads. I've also used some seed beads in the middle. You can see these tiny green ones are seed beads, and the other metal beads here are, in fact, they're hematite beads. Sorry, these are the square ones. The flat square ones are hematite. The round one in the middle, the green, is a seed bead. And then these, the big one here, are metal beads. These are what we call closine beads. They're metal beads. So you can see there are different types of beads here, and it is good to know the name of each one and what they look like, so that you know how to use and when to use them. I do a lot of bead stringing, so I use different shapes of beads. These are rounds, rose quartz, and these, you can see from the tip here, they are triangular. They're triangular, so it's like a barrel or a barrel shape or tube shape, but it's triangular, so it's a triangular tube. These are cubic zirconia. So these are different shapes of beads. Another one is these ones. You've got barrel shaped beads here. These are agate, but they're what do you call them? I've forgotten the name now, but they're agate beads, but they're barrel shapes. These are rondelle. These tiny crystal ones, these big crystal ones here are rondelle beads, and these are chips. These are chip beads, coral chips. The beads I used on top of the earrings are Swarovski crystals. So stringing these together, stringing all these together, and here I use different methods to do that. So that is where you use your knowledge of the different techniques. These are quartz beads, and they are all put together inside this base. They're single, but they're stuck together inside this base. These are triangular. You can see the shape of the bead, and they've all got a hole. They are triangular beads. And these are round beads. These are rose quartz, and the round ones, I mean, are rose quartz. These are another type of bead. They're crystal beads, but they are nuggets. These are nuggets beads. They come as amethyst, but the white side of the amethyst, you know, amethyst comes in it's more purple, but sometimes it fades out into what we would class as white. And these are nuggets because they are sort of irregular in shape. We've also got these pearls, this pearl set. You can see that these are in the shape of a dog bone. These ones here, they're in the shape of a dog bone. These are button pearls. The pearls I use are all freshwater pearls. These are also pearls, freshwater pearls. They are the irregular shape. We call them opaque pearls. And they are irregular in shape. They're all freshwater pearls. These are also pearls, but they're nucleated pearls. You can see they're of a different shape as well. You can see that they're all of a different shape, but they're pearls as well. And here we've got a set in amethyst. You can see that they're amethyst rounds, but it is the center that I wanted to show you. It's quite large. It's amethyst, and we call it's flat. It's not round. This is flat, and it's a large shaped bead. It's a nugget, but it's flat. So that is another shape. And lastly but not the least, we've got these. These are rounds, adventuring round beads. These are pearls. Sorry, the blue ones are adventuring rounds. These are pearls. These are nucleated pearls. These are quartz beads, but they're flat. You can see the shape, different shapes. They're flat. They're not sort of disc, they're disc shaped, but irregular. And then you've got hematites. You can see the shape of the hematite beads in the middle. So it's good to know the names of the beads you want to use and the different shapes. So we'll see next week when we talk of another aspect. Thank you. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Bye.